Today I'll be speaking about a cold case murder involving a former member of the Lucchese family. I know a lot of people have interest in cold cases, and this is definitely an interesting one. There's been some falsely stated theories that I'll try to clear up. So with no further ado, let's get into the Frank Lagano murder. A law enforcement document dated 1989 identified Frank Lagano as a Lucchese member who was involved in loan sharking throughout New Jersey. We know from former Lucchese acting boss Al Diaco that a sit-down took place on September 18, 1991, between the Lucchese and Bonanno families over Lagano, who allegedly beat the Bonannos out of money, specifically $400,000 in gambling money that Lagano's associate lost and owed the Bonanno bookmakers. At the time of this meeting, which took place in the Kimberly Hotel in Manhattan, Lagano was a member of Diaco's crew. As for the outcome of the sit-down, it went against the Lucchese's, and Lagano was on the hook for the $400,000. On December 1st, 2004, dozens of members and associates of the Genovese, Lucchese, Bonanno, and Gambino families were arrested in a case dubbed the Jersey Boys, which involved gambling in offshore wire rooms in Costa Rica. Initially, in April 2003, the investigation centered around an East Rutherford, New Jersey cafe called Cafe Roma, which belonged to the Genovese family. Lagano was among those arrested and charged with racketeering, promoting gambling, and loan sharking. He was also considered to be representing the Lucchese family in that gambling ring. It's estimated they were making $300,000 a week and had 12,000 customers. Following Lagano's arrest, it came to light that he began cooperating with James Sweeney, an investigator for the New Jersey Division of Criminal Justice. Fast forward to the afternoon of April 12, 2007, Lagano was exiting his BMW in the parking lot of the Seville Diner in East Brunswick, New Jersey, which he happened to be part owner of, and someone approached him and put a bullet in his head and killed him. This type of hit would be considered bold, being that it took place in broad daylight. Sweeney, who was involved in the Jersey Boy investigation, had been picked up on a phone tap telling a source, "I'm telling you, don't worry about it. If it was something, I'd come and get you. I'd pick you up off the street." Obviously, he was the informant's handler. And as a result of his inappropriate behavior, he was fired from his job. But according to him, he lost his job after questioning his superiors regarding Lagano's murder and those he felt were involved in it. Over and above that, he wrote several memos where he accused the former chief of detectives in Bergen County, Michael Mordaga, of exposing Lagano as an informant. Allegedly, Mordaga walked over to Lagano one day while he was in a restaurant dining with fellow Lucchese's and disclosed his status as a confidential informant. Sweeney wound up dying in July 2011, but Lagano's family filed a wrongful death lawsuit against the Bergen County Prosecutor's Office, basically claiming that Bergen County leaked information that Lagano was cooperating, which put his life in jeopardy and ultimately caused his death. Mordaga was specifically named in the lawsuit. In February 2005, 2 years prior to Lagano's death, Sweeney wrote to the Attorney General's office in reference to a connection between Lagano and Mordaga. Supposedly, the two were close friends who vacationed together, visited each other's houses, and were also business partners. Although Mordaga denies knowing Lagano and stated in a telephone call, "I have never had a personal relationship with Lagano or a business relationship." Meanwhile, phone records proved otherwise. Lagano was not your typical wise guy. He held a degree in economics and was often seen in possession of the Wall Street Journal and speaking about stocks. I mentioned earlier that he was also involved in loan sharking, and according to reports, one of the people who borrowed money from him was Mordaga. The Jersey Boys case fell apart at the seams, and not one person arrested served any time. As for the lawsuit put forth by the Lagano family, it was denied by a judge who felt it failed to prove the state created a danger or was responsible for Lagano's death, which was obviously good news for Mordaga, the person the lawsuit held responsible. Presently, there are numerous people reporting and giving their opinions on the mob. Most of these people are civilians who believe they understand the mob's inner workings. I can tell you for the most part, their assumptions are far from the truth. I have opinions as well, and that doesn't mean that my personal opinions are always on the money. Nonetheless, as a former member, I can assure you I know firsthand the inner workings. For example, I was recently asked to watch a certain video regarding the Perners. And in the video, it mentions the fact that Matty Madonna traveled to New Jersey to conduct an induction ceremony for the Perners, and that this was a sign, and I quote, "It shows you how much respect the Perners have." After hearing that quote, I was hysterical laughing. Let me explain. When Anthony Guzzo and myself were inducted in April 2013, we didn't have to travel to the Bronx to get straightened out because our ceremony was held in Staten Island. And guess who made the trip to Staten Island to conduct that ceremony? Matty. And take it from me, it wasn't a sign of how much respect Anthony and I had. It was also suggested that the fact that the Perners induction took place after the Lagano murder was a sort of reward. Let me state for the record, the Perners were not known as tough guys or killers. They were known as earners in the sports business. The ballsiest brother was Johnny, but neither Perner killed even a turkey on Thanksgiving. Here's another example. When Joe Perner was assigned with me to carry out an assault on a guy, who at the time we didn't know was Stevie Crea's son-in-law, we pulled up to the guy's block in Port Jefferson, Long Island. Perner was driving. His car never even came to a complete stop before he said, "Forget this area is no good," and kept driving. He wanted no part of that assault. But to his defense, I've been telling our Captain Big John for months that I didn't like the area the guy lived in. Nevertheless, any danger equated to the Perners comes from their father Ralphie's cousins, the Tessettas, known capable guys. Let me just quickly mention the Super Thanks icon, which can be found beneath this video for anyone who wants to show appreciation for videos such as this one, and thank you. It's also been reported that the Perners were the lead suspects in the Lagano murder. I'm sure everyone at that time was a suspect, including them, but to suggest that they possibly carried out the hit is off base. In 2018, when I began cooperating, the FBI knew very well I was close to the Perners and asked many questions regarding them. Guess what they never asked me? If I knew anything about their involvement in the Lagano murder. Remember, there's no statute of limitations when it comes to murder. You could believe if the FBI felt the Perners killed Lagano, they absolutely would have questioned me about it. The April 12, 2007 murder of Frank Lagano remains unsolved and is considered a cold case.